Welcome to Bastard Quest. I'm the Game Bastard Kyle.
I'm Todd.
Corey.
I'm Austin.
We are playing Eat the Reich, a role-playing game about vampire commandos that drop into Paris to drink all of Hitler's blood.
Yes, one of my favorite ones in a while.
It is
Juicy.
It's a very serious study of history. Or
Accurate history.
Or not that at all in any way. It is high-octane, high-violence adventure. It's a lot of fun. If you're just joining Bastard Quest for the first time, go back 2 episodes.
Or actually go back 102.
Go listen to the G.I. Joe.
It's better.
Yeah, those are really good. But for Eat the Reich, we started 2 episodes ago, and this, of course, is the Christmas episode.
Yay.
Merry Christmas. Your vampires have just broken through Nazi lines.
Vampires celebrate Christmas?
Oh, they love Christ.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. You drink his blood, Todd.
Yeah.
Right.
Jesus is mainly Jesus for vampires.
Well, he did rise from the dead, so we got a lot in common.
He's the first vampire.
Yeah.
He's the session 0 of vampires.
That's why there was enough loaves and fishes. He was like, I don't drink or eat.
So you broke through German lines around the Saint Medard Church. You've now entered Sector 2 of Paris.
Yes, the famous Sector 2 in
Yeah.
Eau Paris.
The romance is in the air. And Sector 2. So many Edith Piaf songs about Sector 2 and her lost loves. And
Yeah, I think that was the name of a cafe painting by Van Gogh.
Well, my favorite
Yeah.
Woody Allen movie is Midnight in Sector 2.
Dawn approaches. You find
wait, quick question. Who is Dawn?
Dawn is your cousin.
The head vampire.
The head vampire.
Dawn.
Poorly named. It's led to a lot of confusion and a lot of unfortunate vampire deaths.
He is the one in charge. He is known as Dawn of the Dead.
Oh. Oh.
Moving right along.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Renounce Christ.
Dawn, and by that I mean the rising of the sun in the east,
Oh, okay.
approaches.
So we need to find cover.
You do find cover. You find a ruined block that has been shattered by Allied bombing. You gain access to a basement, seal yourselves in, and pass the day. Of course, you're awakened by the occasional rumble of German tanks and march of feet, but no one breaks into your basement sanctum. And as night falls, you're ready to progress further into Sector 2. You have 2 main options for the path before you. You can either get to the metro station, which will allow you to access any other point in Sector 2. Remember, your ultimate goal here is to get into Sector 1 and eventually take down Hitler in his Zeppelin at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
That just charms the shit out of me.
So you could get in the metro station and access just about anywhere else in Sector 2, or you could cut through the German Technology Pavilion and have theoretically a shorter path, provided there were no unexpected surprises. But either your next objective will either be the metro station or the German Technology Pavilion.
I don't know. The pavilion sounds perfectly safe to me.
It's going to suck either way.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't like you.
Are you saying there's no good choice here?
Yes.
Well, that's accurate.
So, I mean, if this were Octung or maybe G.I. Joe, I would want to go for more the tactical advantage of being able to cover more ground and take the metro station, but we're just trying to get to Hitler. So I'm perfectly fine going through the pavilion and creating a shortcut for ourselves.
Yeah, whatever.
And Chuck, he got wounded last time. He is shot full of holes. And so I have to spend 1 blood at the start of my turn. So whatever we do, I need blood.
Yeah. And actually, that's a good point, Todd. With this being mainly about resource management, is it better, do you guys think, if we take a longer route just for the sake of gathering more resources? I mean, Corey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Austin. I've lost some fingers. I've got a sucking chest wound, and I've been shot in the fucking face.
Sure.
So there's healing in this, but you spend blood to do it, correct, Kyle?
Spend 3 blood for any one injury.
I'm going to have to, or
That's
I'm
right.
not long for the world.
So I have 5 blood, and I'm a little spooked, but that's pretty much it.
I also have 5 blood. What can I do, Kyle?
You can heal an injury by spending 3 blood at any time. Now, an injury, there are categories of injuries. Like there's 3 categories and 2 injuries within each category. So it takes 3 blood essentially to uncheck a box.
Okay.
So Todd, how many boxes have you checked altogether?
2, I have a flesh wound and I am shot full of holes.
So it would take a total of 6 blood to get you back to full health.
Right.
Which
or 3 to remove one of those.
3 to remove one of them. And it's always got to be the bottom one removed first.
Okay.
Which is the worst of the two.
Which is the worst of the two to it. You would obviously want to do that first.
Well, I only have 2 blood at the moment, so until I find some, I'm still shot full of holes.
Okay. So would you guys prefer to prolong the journey a little bit and just go through some lesser? Because here's the thing: if we take the shortcut, it's only going to get harder. So it may benefit us to spend a little extra time in Sector 2 just to gather resources.
And I'm assuming the metro is like a train, correct?
Yeah, it's a subway.
So I mean, it is a long tube filled with victims.
That's true.
Yeah, whatever.
So the metro station.
Yes. If we need to prioritize gathering resources, then we'll hit the metro station.
And I'm no longer shot in the face. I've spent 3 blood.
Oh, fantastic.
Face looks great.
How does that healing look? What does that look like, Corey, when Cosgrave heals being shot in the face?
He kind of like gathers all his vampiric energy and like concentrates and then does like this cartoonish, like shakes his head real fast.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, that's a tough a cricket, isn't it there? I need a quid.
Okay.
That's how they speak over there.
Yeah.
Not to alienate our English listeners or anything. The funny thing is we can shit on any country as much as we want because we're in like the worst country right now.
Yeah.
Metro station. None of the trains are currently running, but the metro makes an excellent means of slipping through the city undetected. Miles upon miles of rail tunnels, maintenance shafts, and public thoroughfares allow for access to almost anywhere in the city, if you're clever about it. Find a working train or repair a malfunctioning one, and you will be able to speed beneath the streets until you're chased down by motorcycles and enemy trains on adjacent tracks. But that will be fine.
What?
All right, I've been waiting to pull this out. One of my advances is elbow grease, and I can fix things.
So the 3 of you slip into the metro through one of the closed down stairwells. You're dodging through the darkness. Of course, it is unlit at the present time. And you find a train in an abandoned underground hangar in various states of disrepair. You can tell it's a work area. Someone was working on it until recently, but likely it's been shut down to ensure Hitler's security and stop most of the traffic through the city.
I'll not only get this train a tootin', I'll get it a rootin', fellas.
Cosgrave walks up to the train and goes, "Oi, Gov, how are you today?" Because he's used to trains having faces and talk.
Yeah.
You know, in the UK, the UK, that's how it works.
Yeah. Sure, Thomas the train.
How's Ringo?
The train does not respond. However...
Oi.
Kyle, quick question.
Yes, Todd.
What is our objective rating for this mission?
Your objective rating is 10.
Okay.
Oh.
And you're about to set to work on repairing the train when you hear, Achtung! And from the tunnel behind you and coming out of various entrances into this hangar are German armored infantry squads. They shout and caper. No, they don't caper. They're German.
Have they seen us?
They're curtsying.
They have seen you. They have big floodlights that they're carrying. They have lights on their armored helmets. And they start opening fire with their heavy weapons.
All right. So then how do we want to play this? Todd, do you want to see how many we can take out as a team, or do you want us to try to defend you while you work on the train?
If I can get to work on the train, I would like to do that because when I roll up my sleeves and take on an objective single-handed with the fix skill, I reduce our objectives rating by 4.
Fantastic. Okay. So if we can at least just give you one chance to make some good successes there.
Sure.
That'll work great. Kyle, are there any mechanics at all for us defending as far as being able to take away attacks against Todd? Because I know kind of with the system that we're playing off of, they kind of get attacks and threat against Todd no matter what we do.
So you get attacked by an enemy that is threatening you. If you guys go out and actively engage the armored squads, there's 2 of them. Uh-huh. So if each of you essentially pairs off against one, I would say that they're and you if you're spending your successes on reducing their threat.
Okay.
While that doesn't mechanically have an impact, I would say that you're occupying their attention sufficiently that they're not shooting at.
So that Todd can do his job without danger.
They wouldn't be shooting at Chuck.
Okay. All right. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, for fixing the train, I'm going to utilize my tool belt once again, which gives me the jerry rigging plus.
Okay. Now, I do pick who goes first, and it's not going to be Todd. So I'm going to choose Austin to go first with Flint.
All right. Well, everybody's tired of hearing it at this point, but Flint screeches and then flies out of the train.
You have to do the screech.
There he is.
I'm not tired of hearing it. I love it. Let me ask you this. Does it hurt when you do it?
It does.
Good. Do it again.
It hurts my soul.
Christmas.
Yeah, this is taking place on Christmas Day, by the way. This is all the German soldiers are wearing bells and red hats.
Well, this just...
How did we not hear him coming a mile away?
You did. You just thought it was merriment.
But real quick, Austin, do the screech one more time. The herald angels sing.
Vampire Christmas is very different.
So we're gonna say that's true. All the Germans showed up with like bells and shit on, and as a very sonically sensitive bat monster,
Yeah.
this enrages Flint.
The dumb shit we say on this show.
Yeah. Well,
There again, favorite Austin character ever. Love it.
As a sonically sensitive bat monster.
I just picture Bat Boy from the Weekly World News.
oh God.
Yeah. He got recruited by the Allies, guys. No, I guess that would be Flint's grandson, probably. Heir to a fine lineage. What? Okay, so Flint is attacking one of the armored squads, I'm assuming.
Yep. As he comes out, I'm actually going to use an advance called Hellish Screech. Spend 2 blood and reduce a threat's difficulty by 1.
Oh, okay. Well, these guys are challenge 1, so that would be good. That would take away all their defenses, basically.
Fantastic. All right, and then I'm just going to brawl at him.
Yeah, the screech echoes through this underground chamber, and you see many of the squad shout and cover their ears. But, of course, that doesn't stop them from shooting at you.
Okay.
So I got 2 attacks.
I got a 5 and a 6.
Okay, so you got 3 successes.
All right, so then I'm going to use my 1 success to remove the other threat point that squad holds, and the 2 successes from my 6 to ward off both of those attacks.
Okay, so you're going to reduce threat by 1 and block their attacks. What's this look like when you're in amongst them?
Flint kind of soars out of the train in this like corkscrew movement following the curve of the tunnel and comes at them from above. It looks for a minute to Chuck like this little squad of like 3 or 4 soldiers is going to just run directly at him. But then with this much louder than before hellish screech, this wing just drops over them like an umbrella unfolding, and there's just a bunch of muffled grunting and screaming inside.
Cool. Now, what stat did you actually use for that?
Brawl.
Gotcha.
Okay, so between spending my blood on the hellish screech to reduce it by 1 and using a success, does that get rid of that one entirely?
Oh, no. So this is an armored infantry squad. Their challenge rating is 1. Challenge means if you try to reduce their threat, they take away 1 of your dice. So their threat now is a 5. Their threat 6.
Gotcha.
Meaning, basically, you took out their defenses in terms of...
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll be much easier to take out.
Okay.
Corey, we're going to go with Cosgrave next.
Okay, I'm going to use an ability that I should have been using this entire game called Back Pocket Hex. It doesn't cost any blood or anything to use. I reduce a threat's attack rating by 1.
So their attack goes down to 2.
Okay.
What does Cosgrave do, Magic? What does this look like when he uses this?
He goes, "Oh, it's a right tough old gibbet, isn't it?" And
Is that what he does? Okay.
yeah,
That's all, oddly enough.
traditionally, yes.
Yes, and these charged magical words decrease their aim, apparently. Okay, so my attack is 2 now.
Okay.
And what are you doing as your main action here?
Well, as always, I need blood, so I'm not going to use another ability right now because that costs blood, and I've only got 2 left.
Oh, speaking of blood, Kyle, I rolled a 6. My Ravenous ability gives me 3 blood.
Cool.
Damn. Cosgrave is going to rush the squad
Yeah.
and stuff his sawn-off shotgun into the face of the leader, the one wearing the reindeer antlers,
Yeah. Yeah.
and shoot him in the face with the sawn-off shotgun,
Yeah.
killing their leader, upsetting them.
Obergruppenführer Donner.
He tries to fend off your attack with a cute use of. He pulls that little string that makes the antler kind of wave at you.
Yeah. You're next, Prancer.
9!
So my shoot is 2, and I get +2 dice for being point blank with the shotgun.
Alrighty. I got 1 attack.
I got 1 success. This has been fucking terrible. I hate this game.
Would you like to flash back?
Yes. Let's flash back.
So roll a d6.
That's a 1.
So you flash back to when you were on board a plummeting airplane.
Okay.
So roll for the question.
It's another 1.
So is this about Flint or Chuck?
I'd say this is about Flint.
So when you and Flint were aboard a plummeting airplane, you saved him from certain death. What nearly killed him?
So right after we killed the pilots.
Sure, on a German bomber.
Yes. Stupidly.
That's now high over the North Sea.
Right. Like we see the sea like rapidly rising towards us.
Yeah, and there's that classic World War II movie sound. It just keeps getting louder and louder.
As Cosgrave is working to get the door open, or the hatch, the emergency hatch.
Sure.
Because that was where he was seated, and he agreed to help if needed.
Yeah.
He read the card.
He's almost got it open, and he looks over, and he realizes Flint is having trouble putting a parachute on, and he reminds him he does not need the parachute, and asks him if he can, grab hold of me as we glide safely away.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you survive.
Yes.
So you can re-roll your entire pool.
Okay.
And you add 2 more dice.
Okay. That's 3 successes.
Okay. So I only have 1 attack. Do you have any crits?
No.
Okay. So what are you doing with your successes?
Okay, 1 is going to block your attack.
Okay.
I think I'm going to put the other 2 towards blood.
Well, remember, you need to block some threat or Todd is going to get shot at. Or Chuck is.
Oh, shit. Okay, in that case, I'll block a threat and add a blood.
Okay. So their challenge, their armor, is going to soak that threat, but it still counts as attack against them, and you get 1 blood. And so, yeah, you killed Obergroup if you're a Donner. And this shocks the others. They start stumbling over themselves, pouring fire on you, which is mostly just bouncing off. Todd, it is Chuck's turn to do some elbow grease.
That's right. Now, let me make sure I understand how this works, Kyle.
Okay.
It says when I roll up my sleeves and take on an objective single-handed with the fix skill, which is fixing the train,
Yes.
I gain a special and I reduce the objective's rating by 4. Now, is that the objective of fixing the train or the overall objective?
So that would be the overall objective of cut through the metro tunnels.
Cool.
The train, there you can have sub-objectives, secondary objectives. So one of those could be get the train started, because technically you don't have to repair the train to cut through the metro tunnels.
It'll just be faster.
It'll just be faster because, mainly because you're going to be able to use this ability. So the train's objective rank would effectively be 0. It would just require an action to kind of complete it. So again, yeah, it's going to go towards the overall.
Okay, cool. All right, so I will be rolling my fix, which is 4, and I can still use my tool belt 3 more times, so I'll mark off a box there. That gives me a plus for jerry rigging, so I'm rolling 5 dice altogether. Chuck rolls up his sleeves.
Sure.
And says, "All right, partners, I'm going to try to get this choo-choo a-chewing again." All right, I did roll a 1.
Which you can use for blood, right?
Yes, I can, because I'm a corpse eater.
There's just a dead conductor nearby.
Well, I was going to say parts of Obergroup, if you're a Donner, were splattered over Chuck's way. And he just picks up an ear attached to an antler.
Gnaws on it like a piece of jerky while he's
Yeah, just
working.
he's got it sticking out of his mouth while he's using a pipe wrench. Okay, so that's 2 5s and a 6. So that is 4 successes.
Okay, how do you want to break those down? Because the objective is 10. That's going to go down to 6 no matter what you spend that stuff on.
Yes.
Which, taking 4 off the objective is a really good turn.
I'm going to spend 1 more on the objective, get it down to 5. So we're halfway there. The rest, which is 3, I'm going to use as blood.
Cool.
Awesome.
Gives me a total of 6 blood altogether, and I am going to spend 3 to heal my shot full of holes.
Good call. Get rid of that.
Hey, fellas, look at this. I'm no longer a human colander.
He says this as the train is starting to move, starting to pull down the track. This metro line still has cars attached to it. Chuck is in the engine, of course. Cosgrave and Flint leap aboard. The train starting to move. Members of the German armored squads are shouting at each other, trying to pile on the train before it gets out. So the train quickly outpaces them because, I mean, they're just normal people running in heavy armor, shouting German curses at you. Schnitzel!
Wow, they're serious.
Yeah.
And then you hear the high-pitched shriek of motorcycles, and you see the headlamps coming down behind you. So you're going to have to deal with the motorcycle squad as you scream through the underground of Paris. And then on the heels of that, another train is coming up parallel, and you see the last few remaining members of the reindeer squad aboard it. So I'm going to say you've lost one of the armored squads, but the reindeer squad is in a train, and there are motorcycles coming all around you.
Okay.
So, Todd, I'm going to say Chuck can go first this round. You're driving the train. Now, you don't have to spend an action to drive the train. That's just something you're doing.
Sure.
In addition to whatever else.
Because it's a train, there's no steering wheel.
Oh, hey, fellas. I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I'm a-riding.
I hate you.
The motorcycle squad is coming up on the left, and the reindeer squad train is coming up on the right, and reindeer squad members are shooting at you and starting to jump across. One of the giant armored squad infantrymen with Prancer written in gold lettering on his armor and wearing a crude reindeer nose.
Oh, sounds like this would be a good time to hawk up some acid spit.
Forgot about that. I mean, it's made of wood.
What?
His armor.
No.
No, it is metal armor, of course.
The old wooden vest.
It's cliche, I know, but...
So I'm going to spend a blood and hawk up a gutful of fierce acid.
Okay.
I'm not going to name it. I'm not going to aim it. All right, we'll call the acid Pete. I'm not going to aim it at any particular Nazi. I'm going to try to use it against the metal train to disable it. So it is no longer a threat. Like, you just shoot like towards the front and try to take out like the front wheels or, in that general area.
So you're mainly going to go after their threat.
Yes.
Chuck looks like he's got like a big chaw in, but it's just chunks of the guy that Cosgrave killed, like just packed into the side of his mouth.
Well, he says it's his acid spit. It's just Red Man.
Right.
He has to get like a cud up and going to do his acid spit.
That's what I was getting ready to say. It's like he's chewing a cud.
He just chews on an ear for hours, regurgitates parts of a spine, whatever.
Blood cud.
And there's the name of the episode for today.
So what is your stat that most applies here?
I'm thinking shoot.
Yeah, that's aiming and
Yeah, exactly.
spitting, yeah.
So that's a 3, and then I get a +2 because I am using my acid spit on metal.
Now, I mean, you could an action encompasses more than just the spitting. Like, there's some time passing here. You could also be shooting at them as you're doing this or doing other things. So you could add in some equipment if you feel like it could apply. So don't think with this game that you guys literally have to do one thing on your turn.
Sure, I'm going to save Betsy and Maria my 2 revolvers. I have a limited amount of use with those, so I'm going to keep those in their holsters until it's more appropriate to use them, I think.
Okay.
My shoot is 3 +2 against the metal with the acid, and that gives me a dice pool of 5.
Alrighty. The Armored Infantry Squad, their threat is 3.
Well, there's 2 1s, so that's 2 more blood.
That is a great ability.
The blood cud, and a 2 4, so that's 2 successes.
Okay, I got 1 attack.
I'm going to use one of those to nullify your attack, and I will use the other one against the threat.
So they have a challenge of 1, so that's going to absorb your threat. Prancer is leaping across as you spit, and it splashes all over him. He lands on the engine, but he's screaming as the acid is melting through his armor and his face mask, and he falls off and goes under the wheels, and you guys in the back feel the train boom. But the Nazi train is still rolling forward. Corey, it's your turn. Motorcycles coming up on the left, and the reindeer squad in a train on the right.
Okay, Cosgrave is going to leap from the train onto one of the motorcycles.
Okay.
Nice.
Can I say he goes towards the back of the train and opens one of the doors and does this from behind so they don't see him coming?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Then I'm going to use my sneak skill for this.
Oh, okay. Also, the motorcycles give you a new special ability called Crash and Burn.
Oh?
And if you spend a blood, you can inflict 3 damage to the motorcycle squad in addition to whatever else you do.
Okay.
So you're going to sneak up.
Yeah, and then leap from the train to the guy bringing up the rear.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to use my enormous knife to take out the guy so I have control of the motorcycle.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, so it's a squad of German motorcycle troopers. They've got these long green dusters kicking up dirt and rocks from the tunnel, headlamp beams going everywhere, the roar of the engines, and we just see Cosgrave leaping through the air.
Oh!
Very majestically.
That's his war cry.
So they are threat 3, but I'm going to say they don't know that you're there for right now.
Okay.
Because you're sneaking up. They're focused on the giant bat freak in the train. They're shooting at him.
Spitting all over people and
The cowboy and the bat, which is definitely the name of a Batman comic.
Yeah, it's like a crossover with Jonah Hex or some shit.
So how many dice you got?
My sneak is a 3. Using the enormous knife, that gives me another one. And then I get an extra if never saw you coming is employed, which I think happens here. So a total of 5 die.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I got 2 crits and a 5. So total of 5 successes.
Nice. How are you going to spend it?
Okay, so this was a sneak attack, so they don't have any attacks coming to me, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so Cosgrave leaps onto the back of the rear motorcycle, whispers in the German's ear, "Oi! Milk, lemonade, round the back, blood is made." And shoves the enormous knife into his rectum.
Oh, Jesus.
Of course he does.
And lifts him off the motorcycle, throwing him backwards. So I don't have any attacks to nullify. That's good. Can I reduce their threat?
You can, of course, yeah. So their threat is 10. If you spend a blood to crash and burn some of them, that would be 3 damage.
So using that ability, that's just spending blood. That's not using any of my successes, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm gonna spend a blood to do that. I'm gonna give myself 3 more blood, get me up to 5, and the other 2 I think I'm gonna use to reduce the overall objective.
So right now it's at 3.
Okay.
You guys have put 7 on it.
Okay.
So with crash and burn, how do you take out a couple more motorcycle riders?
So most of the motorcycle group is on one side.
Okay.
So what he's going to do is speed up next to them, jerk the handlebars towards the larger portion of the group, and leap to another motorcycle on his right and try to take out that guy.
Yeah, so the unguided motorcycle slams into a bunch of them. They get knocked sideways and off course. One guy plows into an underground stanchion and explodes. And then Cosgrave lands on the back of another motorcycle guy who goes, "Oh, Papa!"
Oh, it's like Return of the Jedi, ain't it?
Was ist los?
The future.
And then you dispatch him. And on the train, Flint is being shot at by motorcycle riders, and the reindeer squad, members of the reindeer squad, are leaping over in their heavy armored suits, firing their Sturmgewehr rifles.
So what's left of the motorcycle squad?
There's still a good number of them. There were a bunch of motorcycle squad, but their numbers have been diminished. About a third.
All right. So with a great screech, Flint takes off from the train car. I'm going to spend 1 blood to fly, and he spreads his wings carefully in this tunnel and kind of flies above the heads of the motorcycle crew. And I'm going to use improvised projectile.
Okay.
This is a brawl attack. Spend 1 blood, chuck something large and heavy a surprising distance.
Okay.
And I'm going to pair that with flying. So, Kyle, you can tell me whether or not this counts as aerial combat. But Flint soars up above the heads of the motorcycle riders, just kind of skimming the concrete ceiling of the train tunnel. And he reaches down with his claws and seizes the motorcycle that's in the lead. And with another screech, kind of takes off, flapping further, and flies further into the tunnel where he gets some distance, and then uses his momentum to spin around and hurl the motorcycle back into the rest of the group.
Yeah, that's fine. That's awesome.
So my basic brawl is a 4. I'm spending 1 blood to fly, spending another blood to pick up something heavy. Flying gives me a bonus die. The improvised projectile gives me a bonus die.
Okay.
Does it count as aerodynamic?
Does the motorcycle count as aerodynamic?
Yeah.
These are German-made motorcycles, so of course.
Okay. So then I'm rolling 7 die.
I'm rolling 3 for the threat. As you pick up the lead rider, he grapples onto you and is stabbing you with a bayonet in the belly.
Ooh.
Mein Motorcycle! I don't know how to say motorcycle in German! So I just said moto!
I think it's Scootenbiken.
Scootenbiken! I got 1 attack on you.
I got 3 successes. I rolled 2 1s. So we're going to say my other advance, my bone armor, reduces the GM's successful attack dice by 1 for each one you rolled.
Okay, well, that takes all my attacks.
That's an awesome skill.
Yeah.
All right, I've still got 4 blood remaining, so I'm going to use all 3 of those successes to take threat from the motorcycle gang.
Okay. So their threat started at 10. It is now at 4.
Cool.
So it's a new turn. Cosgrave is driving a motorcycle. Flint is flapping through the air. Chuck is driving the train. It takes this big turn. Tracks roar, rattling and roaring. Members of the reindeer squad are now fully on your train. Blitzen and Comet and Vixen and Cupid and Dasher and Dancer are all making their way to the engine, firing their assault rifles, turning the cab around Chuck into Swiss cheese. Corey, it's your turn. You're going to go first this round.
Okay.
The armored infantry squad their threat is still full at 6. The motorcycles are at 4.
Okay, Cosgrave's going to use his ability Phantasmagoria.
Okay.
I spend 1 blood to conjure nightmare illusions in the area immediately around you.
Nice.
That's
All
cool.
right.
And I get an extra die if I incorporate the background in a clever way. What I'm going to do is make the remaining motorcycle people see nightmarish versions of Thomas the Tank Engine faces on the trains that like resemble like a dead relative that they loved or something. Like,
Sure. Suddenly it seems like Chuck is driving a German Thomas the Train that leers out at one of the lead motorcyclists. Hello, my nephew. I am on the express train to hell.
I see you masturbating all the time.
It's too
From
much.
hell.
Too much, Paul. Okay. And what's the main stat you're using?
I guess Terrify makes sense here.
Yeah, that seems to apply. So you could still use Crash and Burn again. And if you used Crash and Burn again, you would only need 1 success on their threat to completely wipe out the motorcycle squad.
Okay, and that costs a blood.
Cost
to
1
use.
blood. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're at attack 3.
Okay. And I'm going to use Back Pocket Hex again to reduce a threat's attack rating by 1.
Okay.
So for me, this is a total of 4 die.
Okay, I got 2. And I rolled nothing on the attack.
Okay, I got 1 crit and a 5, so a total of 3.
Okay. Do you want to crash and burn them with 1 blood?
Yes.
Okay.
So that takes out the motorcycles, right?
With 1 success. If you spend 1 other success with the crash and burn, yeah, they'll be totally
Okay,
gone.
I'll do that. And the remaining 2, I'm going to add to my blood.
All right, so do you want to describe the demise of the motorcycle squad?
Well, it's a mix. Like, some of them overcome with joy to see these dead loved ones that they miss so dearly drive head on into the train to try to embrace them.
Motor!
And they're sucked beneath the wheels. And the rest of them just flee in terror.
Yeah.
I'll never masturbate again.
I'm sorry, Godfather. I'm sorry, Uncle Tom. I'm sorry, Larry Bird.
Larry Bird's alive, even now.
Not in 1943.
Oh, yeah.
He was before dead.
Ah.
The motorcycle squad is wiped out. Austin, it's your turn. Flint's flying through the air. He sees all these armored squad troopers closing in on Chuck.
The last time somebody saw him, he was flying through the air.
Well,
now
that's true.
Now he seems to have disappeared.
Oh, no.
As Chuck looks back, the squad of soldiers moves up through the train, advancing on the cab, when all of a sudden, one of them stops and looks down at his hand, where it looks like a drop of blood has fallen down on it. And he slowly looks up at the ceiling, and from every riveted edge of sheet metal that puts this train car together, there seems to be just this bloody ichor oozing from the walls. Flint is using my last advance for this session, ooze form.
Got it.
Okay.
Spend 1 blood, and you can squeeze through gaps, glop around, etc.
Glop around.
I get an advance for it's in the walls.
So the reindeer squad, which is German armored infantrymen dressed as reindeer and other covered in tinsel, immediately begin panic and firing into the ceiling.
So this bloody ooze drops down from the ceiling onto all of them and then pulls them together, becoming in a solid form again as this bat tries to tear everybody apart.
Blitzen does not care for this.
So I'm using Brawl with 2 bonuses for my ooze form.
Okay. They're defending with 3, or attacking with 3, I should say.
And I'm going to say that my Sense Heartbeat ability allowed me to grab onto each and every one of them. I got to spend 1 more blood for that, but that'll give me another bonus to my attack, allowing me to coordinate further.
Okay.
So that'll give me 7 die again.
I did not roll a single success. They're freaked out. Help me, Comet! I can't, Vixen!
The glop!
The glop is on me!
There's glop everywhere!
The guy with Cupid on his armor is just backing slowly out. He wasn't a part of it. He's like, I'm gonna go get help, you guys. Just stay here. I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
So I rolled 7 successes.
Gee whiz.
Wow.
One of which was a crit, so my ravenous ability gives me 3 more blood. All right, so I'm going to use 3 of those successes to get us the rest of the way on our objective.
Okay.
Let's close that out.
Yeah, you guys have cut through the metro tunnels.
Another 3 for blood. That's actually going to fill up my meter. And then, Kyle, is there any loot that I could acquire in my evisceration of this little squad here in the car?
Yeah, they have Sturmgewehr assault rifles. You could take one of those. That'd be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we have not fucked with loot at all. I think we just forget.
Yeah, it's you can essentially loot things from the environment. They're kind of sub-objectives.
Kind of just adds to our equipment, right?
It does, because you can burn through equipment. You guys haven't burned through any yet, but you probably will. Yeah, so you could grab that.
So there's a flurry of teeth and claws. The next time Chuck looks back, the train car looks rough. Like, it looks like there's been a new coat of paint.
Chuck looks back at all the carnage and looks at Flint and goes, well, God rest ye merry sons of bitches.
I even found a Christmas present for myself.
God.
All right, well, you guys have made it through the metro tunnels. You can go to multiple locations in Sector 2 now. I mean, you could always go back through the Technology Pavilion, but there's also the concert hall, the Le Cochon Noir French Resistant Hideout. You can make some context there. Museum of European Warfare, an expensive-looking garage, the exhibition of degenerate art, which is non-Nazi art, basically.
Yeah.
And the Jardin des Fées, illuminations and amusements, the amusement park. And you could go to any of those. The Resistant Hideout, the Concert Hall, the Museum of European Warfare, and the Exhibition of Degenerate Art are all on the borders of Sector 2. Yeah, so really the Resistance Hall, the museum, and the exhibition are paths, potential paths to Sector 1.
Okay. In Sector 1 is where Hitler's balloon is?
Hitler's in Sector 1.
Hitler's balloon. All right, so I love the idea of actually hitting the French Resistance Hall and actually seeing if we might be able to talk to people for once.
Oh, wait, when you said hit, I thought we were going to take it out.
I mean, we might do that. They're French, but we'll eventually get
Jesus.
some, equipment, meet some allies, possibly.
Well,
maybe just shore up resources for when we do hit Sector 1.
I like that idea because if they're any kind of resistance at all, they probably have things that they can resist with.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's run by a French were-toad.
Got it.
So before we hit that place, though, my meter is full of blood. Kyle, is there a limit to how much blood I can carry? Or do I just need to keep drawing boxes?
There's a limit. How much blood can you put in your body?
Don't know if maybe Flint had a canteen or. But with that in mind, does anybody need blood for fixing some injuries, or does anybody else have any injuries that are actually hurting your stats at all?
I'm glad you asked. No, the shot in the face was the only thing that was hurting my stats, but I still have some missing fingers and a sucking chest wound.
Okay.
I've got a total of 6 blood right now, so I was going to use 3 to heal another one of those.
Then just take 3 of mine and heal that.
Okay.
How does Flint
Thanks.
give blood?
Like a mother bird.
I assume.
God.
Just spraying into Cosgrave's face.
Oh, I was right naked there, geezer. It's tough fambling, isn't it?
I assume Chuck is fine. He was chewing on blood cut the whole mission.
I have 6 blood left. I'm still nursing a flesh wound, but I think I'm going to leave that right there because some of these French ladies might find it exciting and I can get into a bustle. All right.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So now we're a lot better off now, blood-wise.
Yeah.
Copyright Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want those McCarthy lawyers
Yeah.
coming after us. So next stop is French Resistance Hall, and from there you can likely find a guide to get you into Sector 1.
Which way to Hitler?
First, you must smoke the cigarette. All right, well, that's where we'll pick up next week. French Resistance Hall, Sector 2, and then into Sector 1.
Hitler's house.
Hitler's house. Hitler house. Free pancakes on Tuesday.
Ooh.
Join our loyalty program.
You get an armband. Fucking Nazis.
For every swastika you get in your punch card.
It's 10% off.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Bastard Quest. We've been playing Eat the Reich. We'll be playing again next week. Well, we appreciate all our listeners and all our Patreon members, which we haven't really turned any Patreon members into Nazis yet.
Not
in
a
this
ton,
adventure.
but
Not on this adventure.
Not on this adventure. Yeah.
But if any of our regular listeners who are not yet on the Patreon, if you have a reindeer name, we can help you out.
Yeah.
This is destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the survivors of the reindeer squad may pursue you.
Right. I have no doubt.
Oh, yes, they will pursue vengeance with their leader, Rudolph.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've yet to meet Rudolph. Rudolph, the red-nosed armored assault trooper. He was highly decorated on the Eastern Front.
With tinsel.
His tinsel.
Thank you to our sponsor, Barrel and Bond, located at 100 Broadway Street in beautiful downtown Paducah, right there on the banks of the Ohio River.
Bathroom full of glop.
Just everywhere.
Oozing.
And the walls.
But tons of great and rare bourbons.
Indeed.
Their personal collection is insane.
Enjoy a sip of a fine whiskey and learn the secret of the ooze.
But you cannot spend blood. They do not take that as currency.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not since the health department showed up.
And Rich, right here at Christmas time, this is gift giving season, although you're a little late. So if you want to get gifts for people, I would go to norsefoundry.com.
Stuff those stockings with some dice.
Because nothing says I forgot to get you a present here in January like some dice from Norse Foundry. Which I would take. I would not turn that gift down.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We use Norse Foundry dice when we're playing our games here, and they're made out of all kinds of different materials, a wide variety of color. They're little tiny works of art.
I got a die made of glop.
That one does not roll very well. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
It more just you kind of got to just push it over.
I spit it out.
And if you enter the promo code CHAM, that's CHAM, you get 10% off your order.
We should change that to glop.
But thank you for listening to Bastard Quest. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you enjoy all our episodes. And if you don't, please don't tell us about it because we have very fragile self-esteem.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening and have a happy new year.
Thanks, I'm Kyle.
I'm Todd.
I'm Austin.